Déjà vu. That strange, fleeting feeling, like you've already lived through a moment. The light, the sounds, the smells, everything familiar. But you know it shouldn't be. Most people brush it off. A brain glitch, a funny coincidence. But what if it's something more? What if it's a warning from a different version of your life? These are 4 allegedly true stories of déjà vu that didn't fade. They spiraled into something much darker. This is one of them. Déjà vu. That strange, fleeting feeling, like you've already lived through a moment. The light, the sounds, the smells, everything familiar. But you know it shouldn't be. Most people brush it off. A brain glitch. A funny coincidence. But what if it's something more? What if it's a warning from a different version of your life? These are 4 allegedly true stories of déjà vu that didn't fade. They spiraled into something much darker. This is one of them. I don't usually tell this story out loud, because every time I do, it starts to feel more real. But something happened to me in 2017 that cracked reality open, and I don't think it's ever fully closed since. I was living in a dingy old apartment complex in central New Jersey. 3 stories of red brick rot and water stains. Hallway lights that buzzed like dying insects. Paint peeling off every door. Mismatched locks. The kind of place where time doesn't move forward, it just loops. I lived with my roommate Nick. He worked night security at some warehouse out of town, so most nights I was completely alone. It was a cold Thursday night in February when things started. I came home later than usual. As I climbed the stairs, I caught this smell, burnt rubber mixed with citrus cleaner. And something about it cracked open a memory. Only, it didn't feel like my memory. It felt borrowed, like it had slipped in from someone else's life. Then came the déjà vu, but not a flicker, not a passing feeling. This was heavy, like my brain was being yanked back into a moment I hadn't lived yet. I stopped 5 feet from my door, and I knew what would happen next. The light above me would flicker twice. A woman from the floor below would yell something I couldn't understand, and then laugh. And then, at the far end of the hallway, something would fall, a heavy, metallic thud. And it all happened exactly as I knew it would. I wasn't scared, not yet, just confused. I told myself it was probably a dream I had forgotten. But the next night, it happened again. I was sitting on the couch eating leftover Chinese food, watching a rerun, when I suddenly knew exactly what was about to happen. Every line of dialogue, every background sound, even the buzz of my phone on the nightstand. Over the next 5 days, it got worse. The moments came faster, more intense. I started writing them down, testing myself. Every time, I was right. I'd know the exact moment a neighbor's dog would bark, the exact second Nick would text. But these weren't memories. They were like echoes from a timeline I hadn't lived yet. Then, the dreams began. Every night I'd dream I was lying in bed, and the door would slowly creak open. Nick would walk in, dripping sweat, eyes wide, face pale, and say, flatly, "There's someone in the building." But the way he said it, his voice sounded off, like it was being played from an old cassette tape. Lifeless, wrong. I'd ask, "Who?" And he'd just stare. Every night, the same dream. Until the final night, when it wasn't a dream anymore. 3:12 a.m. My bedroom door creaked open. Nick stood there, sweat pouring, eyes wild. "There's someone in the building," he said. Exactly the same words. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed a bat and followed him into the hallway. He pointed toward the stairwell, but when we looked, there was no one. Nothing. Only the shadows. And they didn't move like shadows should. We called the police. Nothing. I told Nick about the dreams, and he stared at me for a long moment, then whispered, "I've been having them too." We didn't talk about it again. That night, the déjà vu stopped, but something stayed behind. Sometimes, when I pass by certain places or hear certain sounds, I feel it again. That pull, like a thread tugging at something just behind the surface of reality, like I'm about to remember something that hasn't happened yet. And I know, if that door opens again, and I hear those same words from Nick, I won't follow this time, because I'm not sure what's waiting for me on the other side. Sometimes I wonder, what if memories aren't from the past? What if from other timelines, stacked like peeling wallpaper, bleeding into each other? And maybe, just maybe, my hallway wasn't haunted by a ghost, but by the weight of a decision I haven't made yet, in this version of my life. I moved out 6 months later, but every now and then, I drive by that building. And every single time, I feel that pull, that flicker of recognition. Like something's still waiting for me. Not a person, but a moment I haven't lived. Not yet. If this story made you feel something you can't explain, then maybe it's not just fiction. Maybe it's your memory from a life you haven't lived yet. Whispers by Aki, where stories don't just haunt you, they follow you.